And we're back. Welcome to another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for adult small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we help you sell what you make. I'm your host, best-selling author SaDon Long, and we are officially 49 days until Christmas. That's right, 49 days till Christmas. So don't want to hold you long. Let's get right to it. So I'm up at night. Sometimes I'm working, sometimes I'm thinking, sometimes I'm just up. And over the last few nights, what I have noticed is content creators are going crazy trying to make you buy the stuff, which is good because they should be selling because they're trying to make a living. However, what I need you to understand as a business owner is how content really works. So that's what we're going to talk about. So without further ado, let's just get to it. Again, 49 days till Christmas. So here's what you need to know about content. Content does not get you sales. Okay. Marketing does not get you sales. SEO does not get you sales. What they do is they get you an opportunity to sell. And here's how content, marketing, flyers, and all that stuff gets you the opportunity to sell. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to compile a list of people. That's right, a list of people who most likely want to do business with you or someone like you. So you're creating the content so that people who may or may not have a problem that you can solve will then see you, start to develop familiarity with you, eventually start to know, like, and trust you, so that then they're open to the opportunity to buy something from you. They're open to the opportunity to have a conversation with you. They're open to the opportunity to maybe go to some of your free events or your paid events. But the whole purpose is to create familiarity. Same thing with a flyer. Same thing with podcast. Same thing with commercials. The idea is to create familiarity with people who have a problem that they're looking for a solution for, that you might possibly be a good candidate. Now, let me be clear. That's not getting a sale. Because once they know, like, and trust you, you still have to take them from being a cold lead, from being a warm lead, from being somebody who hit like or follow or engaged in an online conversation with you, to then getting the other questions that they have answered, which is, quote unquote, a sales appointment, so that then you can actually ask for a sale. So to make it simple and plain and short, it's leads, appointments equals sales, if you can close those appointments. So the reason I want to say it like that is because people keep saying, man, I need to create more content. But the reality is, all content is doing is compiling a list. And lists, i.e. leads, can come from anywhere. And if you're trying to compile a list this holiday season with the 49 days you have left, content might not be the fastest way. Again, content requires that they warm up to you. Because, again, it is cold outreach using the internet. So now you're reaching out to people who do not know you, who did not send for you, and do not trust you. Typically, people who don't know, send for, or trust you do not give you their personal information. So now what happens is they got to warm up to you, which means that you have to be very consistent in the creation of your content. So that means you got to do something 3, 4, 5 times a day that's good enough for somebody to want to watch more than 3 seconds of it. And in the beginning, you might not be good enough if you haven't been doing it very long. It might look good because you got the right camera. It might look good because you got the person with the iPhone walking around behind you. But what exactly are you telling people that's going to make them like you, believe in you, see you as a solution, and trust you in one video? See, these are things that the content creators aren't telling you. The content creators are saying use this long form to short form thing to make reels. Okay. But if the reels aren't talking about things that the people who would possibly want to do business with you want to hear, then they're just reels. So now, how do you get a person who needs to have their hair done to watch your stuff? Oh, you talk about the things that people who want to get their hair done have problems with. So now you want to make videos about things that they're interested in. What type of shampoos to use, what type of oils to use, what type of things not to put on your hair, what things you should put on your hair. Should you put heat on your hair? Did you not put heat on your hair? So now those videos are ones that somebody who maybe wants to go natural, for example, might be interested in. But just creating content of you dancing around and you skating around and you rolling around, how do you then translate that into enough trust for somebody to give you their credit card information? Because nobody who was cold outreach, cold traffic, stranger to you bought anything from you. Ever. Never. I'll pretty much bet anything on it that a person who didn't know you from Adam bought something from you through the internet that was of a significant amount of money. Unless they had just crazy money and they thought from the first time they saw it that this was the thing that was going to change their life. Those people are called early adopters, by the way. So unless it was an early adopter who just had money to blow, which the majority of people are not, how many times are you actually going to get a stranger to give you some money? Now, the content creators, hey, what they do, I got no problem with it. But if you're a business owner, you need to see this in a very different way. Okay? Because content creators, online marketers, don't take sales calls, don't have to answer questions, don't have to negotiate for price, don't have to do anything other than create content. And they don't know what happens after that because that's not their job. But if you're in a business setting, which you are, a business, there's always and always will be a marketing department and a sales department. Now, in your particular case, because you're the business owner and you're probably self-employed and there's not a lot of people working for you at this point, you're marketing and sales. So you're going to have to actually follow up with these people that you get off the internet. And because you're going to have to follow up with these people, you want quality leads. And if you're doing this out of your 401k, or you're doing this out of your paychecks, or you're doing this out of your savings, or you're doing it with money that somebody invested in you from your family, or somebody that you're in a relationship with, do you really have time to go through thousands of hours of video creation and the hopes that these people who don't know you are going to get to know you, like you well enough, and ignore all the other people who are making videos too? Can you really risk your business on that? Can you risk your relationships on that? Somebody invests in you, and now because you can't get customers, you can't pay them back. You're in a relationship, they believe in you, they're letting you work your business, but because you can't get customers, you've created this financial burden for your household and your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend for that matter. Always go back to the Brendan Burchard thing when he talked about watching his girlfriend sleep under the covers and his bills laying on top of the covers. And she was sleeping under his bills, under his burdens, under his problems. And that was the thing that motivated him. But here's the side thing to that. It wasn't the bills that motivated. It wasn't her laying under him. What it actually was is that he started working on the skills that he needed to work on to make his business work better. It made him more focused on prospecting for business. It made him more focused on sales. Because he knew that he was running out of time and running out of money. So now if I'm running out of time and running out of money, I don't have all day to keep posting videos and competing for airtime on the platforms. But that's what the content creators aren't telling you. Yes, you can give somebody $29.99 to chop up the video for you. But how do you make videos that people want to watch and then call you after they watch them? Yes, you can go out and you can buy a rig and you can buy a bunch of camera equipment, because I got it. Obviously, I do. But how do you make videos that make people want to comment, that make people want to share, that make people want to buy, that make people trust you? And how do you do it, make money doing it, and then keep making money doing it? Again, watch the content creator and some podcast guys, and they were bigging her up and talking about she's number one in her field. But all they kept talking about was follows. All they kept talking about is impressions and likes. And if you're a business owner, not an influencer, if you're a business owner, you got a side hustle that you're trying to turn into your full-time job. You need to have transactions. There are 4 things that are going to move your business. 1, the right kind of traffic, meaning the right list of people who are willing to spend money in exchange for whatever it is that you offer. 2, the ability to convert traffic to customers. 3, the ability to charge your price and have some margin left over. Margin meaning I got enough left over to reinvest. I got enough left over to hire some new people. I got enough left over to buy back some of my time. I got enough left over so that if something happens, I can go a few months without having to do anything. Those are things. So pricing has to be important because, as I always say, if you're cheap, you're going to attract cheap, which I'm going to get to that in a second. And then the last thing is retention, because it's hard to get good customers. It's hard to get loyal customers. It's hard to get customers that if you send them an invoice at 11, that is paid by 11:03. Okay? Because ideally, those are the customers that make your business grow. The customers that don't make your business grow are the customers who pay half, pay some, go ghost, disappear, don't work hard, because those people are always going to keep you chasing money. So again, how do I make videos that attract those people? How do I find those people? Because telling somebody how to start something is not telling them how to be successful. So again, there are 4 things. Right traffic, in the case of Dan Kennedy, it's product to person match. Ability to convert, how many actual people will watch a video, listen all the way through to the end, hear the call of action, take that action to then set up an appointment with me so that we can then discuss and I can get their questions answered and I can build more trust so that they then feel comfortable in choosing me to solve their problem to the point where they'll give me their private information, i.e. their credit card or banking information. Then the other thing is pricing. How do I price at a point where I don't have to underprice or over discount? Because again, we talked about profit margin, and profit margin is what you make after all the bills are paid. So if the profit margin is low, my stress level's high. Because now when somebody needs something from me, I don't have the money to give it to them, but it looks like I should have that money because they see me working every single day. So now I have to be able to get enough money, at least with some of my customers, where I can actually build up a little bit of a war chest, where I can actually have some reserves, where I can actually have some rainy day, So pricing is extremely important, which is why I teach negotiations, which is I teach how to work the appointment and create value so that you don't have to be in a situation where you're always selling on price. Because if you're only selling on price, after a while, 50% off ain't going to be enough because people don't see the value in doing business with you. I'm going to take a quick detour just really for a second. You want to sell your unique gift. You want to sell the opportunity to work with you because that's the only thing that really matters. The outcomes that I create are different than anybody else in this business. Okay. So now, if you're saying, well, there's business coach A and there's business coach B. Okay. Well, what has business coach B done? What does business coach B do versus business coach A? Because the customer is going to come in there thinking that you guys are all the same. But unless you're selling your unique gift, your unique talent, your unique outcome, things that only you can create, it's going to be hard for you to get your price. Okay. So again, then the last thing is retention. No, let's go back to pricing one more time. I want to go back to pricing for one more thing. Discounting. Let's just say you have something that costs $500, but you keep selling it for $299. Okay. It should be $5, but you keep selling it for $299. Now, what's going to happen is that you're going to have 10 sales. And at the end of those 10 sales, you're going to have $3,000 when you should have $5,000. At the end of 20 sales, you're going to have $6,000 when you should have $10,000. So the more you sell, the wider the gap goes between what you should be making and what you are making. And if you get to the point where you got 10 sales and you should have an additional, what, $2,000? Maybe my math's a little bit off. I'm doing this in my head. But maybe you should have an additional $2,000. What could you do with that additional $2,000? Now, what could you do with that additional $4,000? Now, how could you reinvest that back into the business? How could you use that to hire another employee that could then help you generate another couple $1,000s and allow you to spend more time with your family? What could you do with that money to hire maybe a grant writer to find you some free money? What could you do to maybe make yourself a little bit more comfortable? What could you do? I mean, there are things you could do. What are they? And if you're at home, write them down. If I had an additional, what would I do with it? So if you do that, then you'll know beyond a shadow of a doubt, like, oh man, I need to start raising my price. But if you start raising your price and you're just raising your price for the sake of raising it, people still won't pay that price. But if you start selling opportunity, if you start selling unique gift, if you start selling outcomes to people who have a problem you can solve, now it's a lot easier. Example, somebody wants to get their grass cut. Okay. You got the one guy who's just walking up and down the street. He's got his lawnmower. He can cut your grass. Then you got this other guy who's going to come with this industrial lawnmower, who's going to cut it. They got weed whackers, they got blowers, they got edgers, they got a team of people. They can make your yard look immaculate in 30 minutes. You're having people over for the holidays. Which one do you choose? Do you choose the one that's going to make your yard immaculate so that when people come over, they're impressed with you? So that when you are standing out front and you're putting your holiday decorations up, it looks great because the lawn looks great? Or do you get the guy who's just walking up and down the street with the lawnmower? They both cut grass. But one's going to make you look like a rock star and one's going to make your family proud of the picture that they take standing in front of your house. One's going to make your curbside appeal for your house look better, and the other one's not. So we're not all created equal. And if you're selling as though we're all created equal, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You know. So again, now let's go to retention. You know, retention is extremely important for my side hustlers, for my people who are small business owners, because good customers are hard to find. Because like I said, who you want? You want the person that if you send the invoice at 11, they pay at 11:03, or do you want to keep trying to find new customers, hoping that the next customer is the person you send it to at 11 and they pay at 11:03? So if you have good customers, you need to keep them. You need to keep those lines of communication open. You need to keep over delivering. You need to keep them in the boat. Because now, if you got them in your boat, number one, that means your competition doesn't have them in theirs. Number two, it's one less customer you have to look for. And if you have consistent money from a customer that pays on time, that pays at a very high rate, and buys on a consistent enough basis, what do you think the referrals from those people are going to look like? You know, how many people do you know who are rich who are going to refer somebody broke to you? And typically, it's been my experience that people who are well off, even when they do send you somebody who might not be able to pay what they pay, they let you know in advance. Hey, man, I'm going to send you a guy. He's going through a few things. You know, I want to give you a heads up. You probably don't want to do business with him, but I'd appreciate it. So now you end up in a situation where at least there's some quid pro quo, where there may be a favor. You know, I've had clients who made up the difference for clients who couldn't afford me, so that I would still get my rate. So imagine if you could have those clients consistently quarterly paying you. You know, I always give the Matt Dooley example. Shout out to Matt Dooley. Was in a conference one time, and Matt was talking about going to the bars, and I was saying that Matt Dooley was a guy who was a Pied Piper. You know, he's a guy that was a galvanizer. He was a guy that got people together. So if you got a Matt Dooley who's a galvanizer and he's coming to your establishment, he's going to bring 5 or 6 people with him. So if he brings 5 or 6 people with him, how much better is that than the one person that comes and sits at the bar by themselves? Yeah. So again, you want to be able to identify customers that are beneficial to your business, that are impactful to your business, that are game changers for your business, as opposed to non-contributors. You know, so again, but back to what we're talking about is we're at a point right now where you have to start evaluating the content creators and how good they can be for your business. Because like I said, marketing, SEO, content creating, it just is going to get you leads. Leads that you still have to work, leads that you still have to follow up with, leads that you still have to set appointments with, leads that you still have to close. So now that you understand that part, you can better incorporate a content creator and better marketing a person into your business without being so dependent upon them to bring you something that they can't deliver. Now, I know you're saying, but I'm not an appointment-based business. And I'm going to continue to say this. We are all appointment-based businesses. Because anybody who's going to go from cold to warm, meaning going from knowing you, meaning going from not knowing you to knowing you, is going to have a question. That's all a sales appointment is. Sales appointments, they show up in a variety of different ways. You know, it could be you standing on your sales floor and them asking, well, do you have any coupons today? It could be them asking, what's your return policy? It could be them asking, do you have any more in the back? It could be them saying, is this the best model for me? Anytime people have questions, it's a sales appointment. You know, And if you are answering the questions that they have and creating value, then the wall starts to come down. And when that wall starts to come down, then the trust starts to come. And when the trust starts to come, then they're going to say, well, what do I need to do next in order to get this today? And now you're not selling anymore. But for my people at home who are watching this, who may watch this later, who are watching it on YouTube, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe. Hit the sub button. Thank you. I'd appreciate that. But beyond that, you have a responsibility to yourself, which is to do what is best for you and your business. So the best thing you can do for your business is wake up every single morning and focus on finding new customers. And like I said, lists can come anywhere. You can get a list of people from anywhere. And I'm not talking about the list you buy. Let me give you an example. There's the people you work with. That's a list of people. You know how I know it's a list of people? Because every time somebody's daughter has some type of fundraiser, what do? You bring the list to work. You have everybody buy something. So the same people who will buy cookies and chocolate covered almonds and peanut brittle, why won't they buy your candles? You can have your list of people that you go to church with. Every time there's a fundraiser at church, what do? Hey, I need everybody to donate. If they can donate to the church, why can't they donate to the church member? It could be a list of people you're in an organization with. Because those people in those organizations, every time the Girl Scout cookies come out, what do? You pull up with your little list and say, hey, my daughter's selling Girl Scout cookies. And Girl Scout cookies, last time I checked, were like $4 a box. So why can't they buy your candles? Why can't they buy your door decorations? Why can't they buy into the other things that you're offering? It could be the people who are in your neighborhood. They're not afraid to knock on your door. Why are you afraid to knock on theirs? Now, the reason I'm bringing these things up and the reason these things are very important is because these are things that happen quickly. Because you've already built trust with these people. They already know you. They already like you. And they all have networks of people that they can vouch for you too. They have a daughter. They have a sister. They have a cousin. They have a friend. They have a neighbor. They have a person they went to college with who might be interested in something that you're offering. I have friends that I've gone to college with who will send me customers. Hey, man, I ran into this girl and she was asking me all these questions. I was like, you need to talk to my guy. Boom, customer. I didn't know them. But you know what? The person that I knew them and had enough confidence in me to vouch for me to them. Now, these are warm leads. These are lukewarm leads. Now, lukewarm leads and warm leads are a lot easier to convert because they're asking way less questions because somebody's already endorsed you or they've already seen enough to know that you're a good person. And you are a good person. Because I'm not talking to scammers. I'm talking to good, hardworking people who want to turn their side hustles and their businesses into something that pays them better than a good-ass job. People who don't have a lot of employees or any employees at all, who do really great work, but maybe don't have that alpha personality. Maybe aren't somebody who's comfortable picking up phones. Maybe somebody who's not comfortable for advocating for themselves in a sales situation. Somebody asks them for pricing because they don't know how to answer the question. They immediately cave. I'm talking to those people. When somebody asks you the price, you don't have to answer that question. And if you do, you can give a range. But as soon as you give that range, then you need to follow up with, but until I have more information, I can't really give you an accurate price because I don't know exactly what you need. So what exactly is it that you need? Because if I don't give you the accurate price, then down the line, it may cost you more money because now I'm going to have to start adding things that maybe we didn't discuss during our first or second conversation. And I know you don't want any additional fees or costs on the back end that would take you out of your budget. Side note, he who asks the questions controls the conversation. So what you want to do is you want to stay emotionally disciplined. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I want to make sure I get all this stuff out so that you guys are fully prepared for what you need to do over the next 49 days. Okay. You need to ask the questions, remain emotionally disciplined, and stick to your script. When they ask a question that is not on your script or is not in the sequence of questions that you're trying to ask during your discovery call, during your appointment call, during your interaction with the customer, you just say, hey, that's a really great question, but do you mind if I ask you one more thing first? You just say, hey, that's a really great question. Hey, a lot of people ask that question, but do you mind if I ask you one more thing first? And if that's not the one you go with, then you could go with, well, I understand what you're saying, but what do you hope to gain, or what are you looking to do with that information? You know, and if they then still, if there's some pushback, then you go into what's called terror. Okay, here's what terror is. Terror is, first of all, tribe, meaning that we're on the same side. So if they feel like you're maybe not answering their questions, you then just go to say, hey, we're on the same team. Yeah. My goal is just like yours, which is to get you the right price so that we can solve your problem. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing is expectation. You know, by the end of this, you'll have all the information you need. By the end of this, you'll have all the information you need. So we're on the same side. We got the same goal. By the end of this, you'll have all the information you need. I just need to ask you a couple more questions first. So now you go back to being in control of the conversation, which is why you have to stay emotionally disciplined. And then, there's the R. The R is you want to raise them up. Well, the reason I'm asking is because you know more about your situation than I do. You know more about your situation than I do. You know more about what's going on in your business than I do. You know more about what's going on in your house than I do. You know more about what the pain in your back is than I do. You know more about all these things. So I'm relying on you to give me the information so that I can give you an accurate price. So if there's any type of pushback, if it starts to go left, you just shift right into terror. And then the last one is just autonomy. And you want to give people the chance. I mean, explain to me what exactly it is that you're trying to achieve here. You know better than I do because it's your business. But explain to me what you're trying to get to. Which then goes into opportunity questions. Opportunity questions are just simply, if you get there, what does it give you a chance to do? If you get there, how are you going to use it? If you get the solution, what is it then going to open up for you? And it works with anything. I mean, even if we got Consuela on here. If we're doing Consuela's crafty. I keep forgetting the name of it, but she makes these beautiful, wonderful things that people hang on their door. And this is the perfect time of year to hang one for Thanksgiving. So, Consuela, please put your information in the chat. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it on my Facebook page. But let's just say she does these beautiful, wonderful decorations. So now when somebody sits down with it, it's like, okay, well, what exactly are you trying to accomplish by putting something on the door? Are you trying to honor somebody? Because if we're trying to honor somebody, then we need to figure out exactly how you want to honor them. Do you want something that honors multiple people? Do you want something that honors just one person? Well, how much do you cost? Well, that's a great question. And I could give you a basic answer, but it probably wouldn't give you what you need to know, because if yours is specialized or customized and there's certain things that you want, then it's probably going to add a little bit to it. So if you don't mind me asking, what exactly is it that you're trying to get to? Now, if they press price, then you just give them a price. Hey, it ranges from this to this. Now, based on what you're saying, it feels like you're probably going to fall in this range right here. Now, the reason I'm saying these things is because at some point, people who don't know you are going to watch you, hear from you, see your flyer, get your email, and then they're going to have questions. And if you answer the questions poorly, or you don't answer them at all, or you answer them in a way that doesn't serve you, then here's what you're going to get. You're going to get, great, I'll call you back. So now you gave them an answer because they were in control of the conversation, because they were asking the questions. You gave them the answer. They got off the phone with you. So now they're sitting there, because that's what buyers are going to do. They're going to try to get the best deal for them. So now they're sitting there going, okay, she costs $50. She costs $25. Okay. Which one of these two am I going to go with? Now, there's no context there. There's no, okay, here's what I get for my 50, and here's why what I get for my 50 is more important. It's just which one's the cheapest. So you may make a bad decision if you're shopping on price. But they don't even know they're going to make a bad decision because you didn't even get enough chances to educate them. Which is why, going back to this content thing, which is why you have to be so much more. Okay, here's what you have to do in your content. You have to answer questions. You have to answer the questions that they have so that they come to you 75% closed already. That they've already made up in their mind from watching the videos that you are a much better choice than other people. That you're the one that's going to help them the most. That you're the one who's uniquely gifted to give them what they want. Which is why I occasionally just run down my stats randomly in the middle of a podcast or in the middle of a short, which is why I post things on a regular basis so that people know that we're not the same. You know, I start off every one of these with, hey, I'm your host, best-selling author. Hey, this is a podcast for grown people. Adult small business owners, adult entrepreneurs. So they know that this is the place they need to be, where we help them sell what they make. Now, with that being said, these are things that start to separate you from everybody else. And if you get those things established early, with your billboard, with your marketing, with your website, with your content, then when we finally get to the conversation, now you're just reinforcing what they've already determined. Again, I'll tell you 100 times from Sunday, me and your marketing guy are not the same person. I make people money. I improve people's profit margins. I put people in a position to have banks coming to them. I put people in a position to have angel investors coming to them. I put people in a position to be able to get grants because their business is established and vertically integrated. That they've actually gone out and they've made enough money to then make certain things a part of their business that they didn't otherwise have. I can take you from search to sale and beyond. So when you get an opportunity to work with me, you should take it. Because how many of these type of opportunities are you going to get? And that's how you need to be selling your business. You need to be saying, hey, you get an opportunity to work with somebody who's at the top of their game, who's got a great track record of doing the following. Because now that takes you way out of the league of the people who are just starting. And Patrick, shout out to Patrick. Patrick might be already gone, but he's right. Your brand is your identity. Your utility is your identity. What you're capable of creating in regard to outcomes does make you that much more valuable than the person sitting next to you. Now, here's the thing about branding, and I know I'm all over the place, but it's okay. It's going to make for some really great shorts. Okay. Here's the thing you need to know about branding. There's three things about branding. There's what you think you are, there's what people say you are, and there's what people who experience you are. Now, what you're hoping to do is to get the people who've experienced you to then vouch for you and reinforce who you say you are. So, again, after the content's created and after all that stuff and after you got them closed and you're doing business with them, you need testimonials. You need people to say you're great because it sounds a lot better coming out of somebody else's mouth than your own. So again, testimonials are extremely important. And what you want in your testimonials is that you want to show the transformation. You want to show, hey, this is what I was struggling with, this is what I was dealing with, this is what I couldn't get done before I met this person. Now, once I met this person, I knew I made the right decision because of this. And once I knew I made the right decision, then this started happening. And once that started happening, then I was able to do this. So you show where they were, what made them make the decision, when they know they made the right decision, and now what they're able to do differently. So you need those kind of testimonials. You don't just need that's my girl, she's amazing. No, you need somebody to say, I had plateaued. I was able to lose 30 pounds by myself. And then it just stuck no matter what I did. And one day I was watching this person and I was like, he might have a good point. So I hit him in his DMs. He called me back immediately. We talked about it. And he said, hey, man, I got this, this, and this that I think will really help you. Are you interested? I trusted him enough. I gave him my money. And then after 3 months, I lost another 40 pounds. And now I feel great. My blood pressure is great. My blood sugar is great. See, that's what a testimonial looks like. Yeah. But again, these are things that your content creators are not teaching you. These are formulas that they don't have because they're about follows, likes, and insights. They're not about the 4 pillars that build a business. Yes, they can get you traffic, but the question is, can they get you traffic that wants to spend money with you? Can they get you quality leads? Can they get you people who will actually impact your business in a positive way? Can they create content that brings you game changers? Because they can't, and all they're doing is bringing you a bunch of bottom of the barrel people who are always going to be trying to buy on price, then you can't grow your business. And if you're always working with people who want you to charge less than you're worth, then you can't grow your business, can't protect yourself from poverty, can't sleep good at night, can't get the respect from the business community that you deserve. You'll always be the most talented and least paid. I speak from experience. I know what it's like to be the best person in the room and not make the most. But until you start learning from people who can teach you how to create the right environment to get the sales that you need and attract the right people, how are you going to do this? Yes, you can start a business, but how do you start a business that turns into something you can feed your family with? That turns into something you can buy a car with, that turns into something you can take a vacation with, that turns into something that makes you look as good as the person with the good ass job? That's not coming from your content. That's coming from your closes. That's coming from retention. That's coming from knowing how to price properly and be able to get your price without over discounting and underselling. And that is not going to come from marketing and content. That is going to come when you talk to somebody who knows how to bridge the gap between your marketing and your sales. Somebody who can take you from curiosity to cash, from search to sale, and then from sale to second sale and third sale and fourth sale. And I'm saying this because this is the holiday season. And if you miss now, when everybody's buying and everybody's got to have a gift for somebody at work, somebody at church, somebody that they barely see all year because, it's the holidays and everybody's coming over and I want everybody to have something. If you miss those opportunities, when are you going to get them again? So I'm drilling this home. I'm driving this down. I'm trying to chop it up into reels as fast as I can, which maybe means I should get Opus or something. I don't know. But either way, this is what you need to do, man. You need to make sure that before you hire this content person that you are literally breaking down how you're going to get me quality leads, because that's all it is. It is quality leads, a list of people who know that they have a problem, are willing to do something about it, and they're committed to spending some money on it, and see me or someone like me as an option. That are then willing to take a phone call with me, that are willing to at least communicate with me so that I can then tell them what the next steps are in order to do business with me. But as always, if you have any questions, go over to growandrich.com. Click the fast cash button. It's going to send me an email. I'm going to send an email back to you. We're going to figure out a time to work. And once we figure out a time to work, we're going to talk about your revenue, what it is, what you'd like it to be, what's working, what's not working, and what could possibly work better. And at the end of that call, if you decide that you want to do more and get more detailed, then we'll talk about that too. But in the meantime, I love you. Have a great day. 49 days to Christmas. Black Friday's right around the corner. So you only have about 8 weeks left. So, hey, man, we got to get down to it and do it. Love you, and I'm out.